Welcome to MILF,
I'm Courtney,
and I'm Jennifer.
and we are two moms into literary freedom. I'm so excited. Wait, show me the chair again.
Hold on. Oh, shit. Hold on.
That'll be my chair once you finish decorating.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Once I
recording.
finish.
I'm
Oh, are you?
recording now. Yeah.
This will
Um,
look much nicer once it's full of books, but
yeah, and
I'm
you
not
have
done.
like you have like really fancy designer books, I feel like.
I've got some with some pretty edges, yeah.
What
And I love
happened?
it that now most books come with sprayed edges, so I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, that's like I saw a lot of books, a lot of my favorite books for the holidays are coming out with like sprayed edges. I forgot which one it was. Oh, I think it was not a favorite book, but my 12-year-old and I are reading Jane Eyre by
Okay.
Emily Bronte. No, Charlotte Bronte. They're the Bronte sisters. There's Emily and then there's Charlotte. Jane Eyre is Charlotte Bronte, I think. Yeah. And I was like, why do you want to read this? And she's like,
She's into the
I just want to,
classics.
yeah, she's like, I want to read smart people books. I'm like, well, you can still be smart and read, dumb people books.
Right. Yeah, the
They're not
classics to
dumb.
me. Right, right.
And she's gonna learn that on her own.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
I
hopefully she likes it. You never know. I've never tried. My
mhm.
daughter wanted to read, what was it? Pride and Prejudice.
Okay. I heard that was
Well,
really good.
she was into the movies. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't think she's
Yeah.
gonna actually read it.
I've never tried. I have never ever tried. So Jane Eyre, I actually tried because in I what's cool about those classics is you can get them from Cloud Library or Libby or Hoopla like very
Yeah.
easily, right? So I have it on my Kindle. And she actually went to Barnes and Noble or Books a Million and like bought it for $6.
They have really pretty ones too.
That's what I was trying to say is I
Yeah.
want the pretty one. So if I finish reading it, my a present to myself will be a one with like the sprayed edges if
Yeah.
I finish it. I'm on chapter 4 and it's pretty good. A lot of big words that like aren't used anymore, you know,
Yeah.
but you can figure it out with context clues.
I
So
feel like that's what those books are good for, like
yeah,
for the purpose of learning big, beautiful words
yeah. I
that
mean,
you normally wouldn't read or see.
I'll never be able to use them in a sentence like casually.
I bought a nice set before like the sprayed edges were like really taking off.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like this different it's a whole set. I don't even know which series are in there. I know Pride and Prejudice is in there, and I don't know what else is in there, but
Yeah,
they're like
yeah,
pastel colors.
Sense and
They're like
Sensibility.
leather back
Ooh.
feeling or suede. I don't know.
Oh, I
They're
know
really
what you're
cute.
talking about. Yeah, yeah. They're like suede, like soft leather or something.
Yeah.
I like those
Soft
too.
leather, yeah.
The one that we're going to talk about today is this is a designer version. This is a hardcover, 1984 by George Orwell. You can see the gold. That's pretty
I
cool.
see it.
I bought a Sherlock Holmes one like this. So I like the hardcover. I like the
Yeah.
gold. I'm attracted to the gold. So if you
That's
are
much cuter
listening,
than my version. My version is like a paperback and it's really tiny
yeah,
and I don't like it. I don't I
it's
bought
more
it
fun.
just to support like the bookstore.
It's more fun to read if it's in a pretty book.
Yeah, exactly.
So those of you listening and not watching, you can check us out on Substack or on YouTube. But we would prefer Substack. Honestly, I just want to get rid of of our YouTube account. I hate YouTube.
Really, I'm not a fan either,
Yeah.
but I mean,
And
I'm not the one uploading it. That's all you.
well, it's not about that. It's just the algorithm. It's so
Oh,
much work for nothing. Like I honestly, I would love it if we can just get a solid following on Substack, and I would just get rid of YouTube. Either way, you can watch us there. Um, And while I'm thinking of it, please take a minute to like, review, comment, subscribe, whatever. Like, if that's not your thing, you can just go follow us on Milk for Books on Instagram and like engage with any of our content. That would help out.
yes.
However, you want to do it, anyway, is super helpful. So,
We're easy to find on all the socials.
yep.
It's Moms into Literary Freedom or MILF for books,
The
right?
number 4. Yep.
So we're
The
not
number.
hard to find.
Yep, we are easy to find, and we do appreciate all the reviews that we've gotten so far. So thank you for
Yeah.
listening. It's always a nice surprise that we've got people listening to us, even though we're
Yes,
so
it really
random.
is.
feel like it's been a while since we did our last episode, but
It has been. It's hard between your schedule and my schedule. I'm always super tired.
you know, we both have full-time jobs now.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah,
like a
we're
few
like
short
working
months
women
ago,
now and
yeah,
shit.
a few short months ago, we were both like, well, I was part-time, and you know, whatever. And now here we are, but we're still making it work.
Yeah, we're still doing it. Before it was a schedule issue that I wanted to sleep all day.
Yeah, well, that it's a little better now, I guess. You still want to sleep, but now I'm like, no, you can't sleep. You have to listen to
Right.
me tell
Wake
you
up.
about 1984.
Yeah, hopefully it
And
doesn't put me to sleep.
it won't because this is very connected to what's going on in our country right now. So
I hear that a lot, which is why I picked it up, but then I've been afraid to read it because I'm like, I'm
I
living it. Do
understand.
I want to read it?
Right. You want to read the things that bring you joy. Like I totally
Right.
get that. Yeah. I feel like I haven't read a book that has given me joy in a long time.
Oh,
I miss that. Yeah. Although, no, I will say that 1984 was really good.
yeah.
It, I don't know. It wasn't as, like a bum as much of a bummer as I thought it would be. You
Okay, that's good.
know? Because it's a fantasy. It's a dystopian novel. Like the people aren't real. The government isn't real. It's just like, food for thought. So, but yeah, I think that, usually in these episodes, like we'll spend the first half of the episode talking about like current events and then the second half
Right.
talking about the book. But I think we can just jump into the book because like let's just, for example, the Thanksgiving Walmart basket thing. Did you hear about that?
Yes, I
That
did.
I can tie that in very easily to this book. So when I get to that part, we'll just have a little pause and we'll talk about
Okay.
how Thanksgiving is 25% cheaper this year.
Right. Supposedly.
Supposedly, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Right. Um, but I think we took care of, housekeeping stuff. Like again, please support the show in any way that you want, or that you can. Substack and Patreon. Those are going to be our things once we get our poop in a group. I'm making mugs that quote the main character of this book just for funsies. Um, the quote is sanity is not statistical. Okay. And that might not
Okay.
make sense to you now, at the beginning of this episode, but after we have our conversation about the book, it might make a little bit more sense. But like,
Okay.
I just thought it kind of resonated with me. Like, sanity is not statistical. Like, just because everyone else, voted for this guy doesn't mean that they're sane. Does that make sense?
Right.
And not just for this guy, because it's not just Trump. He's not the only bad guy. He's got a lot of bad
No.
guys behind him.
A lot.
Yeah. So even if he died tomorrow, we'd still be in a shit ton of trouble. So
Fingers crossed.
some people are like, no, it's worse if he dies. I'm like,
I
whatever.
know.
I don't know. I don't know the answer. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna, feel free to like jump in and ask questions and interrupt me. But I do have
Okay.
notes. I have notes. So starting with the main character, his name is Winston Smith. He's in his 40s. This takes place in obviously 1984, but the book was written in the 40s, late
Oh,
40s.
I didn't know that. I thought it
Yeah.
was actually written like in the 80s.
No, yeah. So really, it's really cool. It was written in the 40s. I think it was like published in 49, and then he died in like 1950.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah. He also wrote Animal Farm. So he's best known for 1984 and Animal Farm. So I'm gonna read Animal Farm next. But
Okay.
anyway, yeah, it was published in 49, but it takes place in the year 84. Let's see. So he's like part of this government Big Brother, which everyone's heard of Big Brother, not the reality TV show. Okay. Because
This is probably where the name for the show came about, right?
100%, yes.
Okay.
Because it's the video, like they're being watched by Big Brother, right? So this is the reality TV show Big Brother was inspired in, some parts by the book. Okay.
Okay.
Because when I was Googling it, like I would Google certain questions like that. I was like, I don't get this part of the book. So I like Googled it and I'm like, not the TV show, the book. So anyway, Winston is a part of this Big Brother government. Like he's a part of the quote outer party, and the inner party, they like pull all the strings, but he's just sort of like he does the grunt work of the party. He's in the outer party, right? So like he has to
Okay.
like work for the government. So there's like three kind of groups of people, the inner party, which I kind of attribute to like the millionaires and the
Right.
billionaires. the outer party, which are like the politicians, like this House and the Senate, uh,
Okay.
Schumer and all those fuckwads and things like that. Not all of them are fuckwads, but Schumer is. And then the bottom part of the pyramid are the proletariats. Have you ever heard of the word proletariat?
I have not.
Neither had I, but it's not a word unique to this book. It just means
Okay.
working party, like working.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's shortened to proles. So they call them the proles in this book, but it's basically like the poor working people of this country. And the country is called Oceania. And Oceania consists of North and South America, parts of Africa, Australia, and Greenland, right? So
Okay.
there's no United States or anything like that. It's just Oceania, right? It's the biggest part or the biggest country. There's only three countries in the world. There's
Okay.
Oceania, East Asia, which is super small, and then Eurasia, which is parts of Asia and Europe, right? And they're all at war with each other.
Always, right? Because
Yeah, that's a
that
huge,
tracks.
yeah, and that's a huge theme in this book is that war is a necessary driver to power, right? It basically makes it so that whoever's in power can stay in power. Because if you're always at
Right.
war, then you have power over people, right? So that's a huge theme in this book. But anyway, everything's named like ironically, it's very ironic. Like everything's named Victory something, right? So Winston lives in Victory Castle. It is not a castle. It is a decrepit old apartment building. The way that George Orwell like describes it is like sad and bleak and cold, and maybe infested with rats.
Okay.
It's just not, picture, like communist Russia, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
And so in this book, like it's a or no, it's socialism, sorry. So it's like a
Ah, that
socialist.
dirty S word.
Yes, yes. Which is interesting because like when Orwell wrote this book, he was inspired, not inspired, but like whatever. I guess inspired is the right word. What's the word I'm trying to think of? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Influenced.
Influenced. I was
Yeah,
thinking motivated, but I'm like, that's not the
yeah.
right word either.
Negative context, not positive context. But anyway, he was influenced by like Stalin and the Hitler era. So it's like, okay, socialism's bad. And
Right.
so this big brother government, also known as INGSOC, which is short for English socialism, is supposed to be like the savior. They saved them from capitalism because capitalism was really bad. But socialism saved them. But like they ended up just living in poverty, right? And squalor,
Okay.
right? Which is funny to me because like we are in this capitalistic society right now, but like things are not the way that I think George Orwell or like I think what he was trying to say in terms of capital, like it's not the answer that we
Right.
all said it was. There's no trickle down economics here. It just makes people rich and then other people poor.
Right. Right. And that's still like what they think is going to happen.
Yeah. It's like how is
So
someone
it's
having billions of dollars going to help you not be in debt?
not
But
when they
anyway,
hoard it all, you know?
yeah. We are economic experts on this podcast. No, we don't. And I'm not saying that like capitalism is evil and should go away, but it's just interesting that in this book, like capitalism was sort of painted as like what was before, and then socialism is like the bad thing here.
And
Because
that's
now,
crazy because socialism is portrayed badly here. And this
right?
is very, very, very highly banned book. You would think that MAGA would be all over this book.
That's a really good point. You would think that, yeah. And I'm wondering why it's banned. I read it and I'm like, is this why it's banned? Is this why it's banned? Like there's very brief instances or yeah, of sex, but it's not graphic at all. It's like there is like the rape comes up, but like there's no description of rape.
Okay.
It's just like they talk about rape as a concept, but only once. Um there's a lot of puritanism, which I'll get to. But yeah, I think that's a good point. Like why if socialism is portrayed as the enemy, you'd think that this would be a book that they would be like, yeah, see what happens when we have socialism,
Right.
But yeah, no, it's not. It's probably because they're not actually thinking very deeply about it. But anyway. Um, So he drinks like Victory gin and he smokes Victory cigarettes because the whole point of Big Brother is like they want the people to want there to be victories in war, right? It just goes back to war. So
Okay.
if you have a war, there has to be a victor, and like Oceania is going to be the victor, and they just want people to like have patriotism, for their country.
Right.
So anyway, picture Winston in his like really depressing apartment. It's cold and dirty, and he wakes up naked because he doesn't have enough money for pajamas. Um, and he immediately has to do like the physical jerks, which are like what it's a weird description, but like he has to
Right.
like exercise, right? And in his apartment, in every apartment, is this huge TV, right? And it's called the telescreen, and it's where Big Brother watches you. So Big Brother can see you, but you can't see Big Brother.
Oh, okay.
And
So
so
it's like modern day security cameras everywhere.
yeah, so
Okay.
it's yeah, and it's very relevant. It's even more so relevant in 2025 than it was in 1984. Because in
Right.
1984, we didn't have Siri and Alexa listening to us.
Right. Right.
So it's like very before its time. You know
That
what I
must be
mean?
so creepy to be like reading that and being like, okay, if you only knew what was
Right.
actually
This
in
was written
store.
in 1949.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so he bought a journal from like an old antique store, and like they don't have anything in this world anymore. Like they're running out of razor blades. There's only twin beds, like queen beds and full-size beds don't exist. So but there is a store that has like old stuff from the old world left over. So Winston goes to it and he buys a journal. And he in his apartment, he's writing in his journal, which is illegal. Like you're not supposed to be able to read or write if you're in the party. Like you don't do those things. But he thinks that he's out of the view of the telescreen. So he's like rebelling, like writing in his journal away from the telescreen. He's like, oh, the telescreen can't see me. So I'm going to write in my journal. And the first thing that he writes is down with Big Brother. So he's clearly a rebel. He hates Big Brother, right? He remembers life before Big Brother. Because,
Okay.
yeah, so it's still relatively new, the government.
Yeah.
So he remembers like oh, my sign keeps turning off. He remembers when things were quote normal, I guess. Um, but anyway, then he goes to work and he works for the Ministry of Truth, which, again, if you think about like the irony of how things are named, it's the opposite. So
Right.
it's really the Ministry of Lies. So
Okay.
there are, how many are there? There's one, two, three, four. There's like four ministries, right? So the Ministry of Truth, or quote, lies, is basically the news. The Ministry of Peace is the Ministry of War, which reminded me of don't we have a Ministry of War? Are we?
Yes, Department of War, right? Is that what it is now?
Yeah, it's the Department of War. Which
Which
I'm like,
was what before? Defense,
Department of
right?
Defense. Yeah, yeah. Which I think
So,
okay. The Ministry of Love, which is like police. Okay, they don't love
that's
you.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's where all the torture takes place. Literally, like I'll get to that. And then the Ministry of Plenty, which is like the economy. And so
And it's
Winston
just
works.
plenty for the rich.
Yes, and yeah, nothing for everyone else. So Winston works at the Ministry of Truth, and he basically, changes like news reports to fit the message of the party.
So
Um,
propaganda.
yeah, propaganda. It's Ministry of Propaganda. Um, he's got a coworker named O'Brien, and who he sees at work, and he's had like a few interactions with O'Brien, like where they've like had eye contact before, but like you can't like just speak freely in this society. Like you can't,
Right.
you have to be very, because everyone's listening, Big Brother's always listening. So he's not sure what he thinks of O'Brien. Like he might think that O'Brien likes him, or O'Brien might be like a rebel just like him, or O'Brien might be like the enemy. He doesn't know. But anyway, they kind of work in the same department, uh and so what he does is he like converts news articles into this new language called Newspeak. So old speak is just regular English. Newspeak is like very abbreviated English. So
Okay.
like English socialism is ingsak. Ingsak. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like shorthand, I guess, or
I guess. Yeah. It's basically to discourage intellectualism. Right.
Okay.
So I'll give you some more examples as we go on. But to give you a better example of like what Winston does at work, Big Brother had to, for whatever reason, reduce the chocolate ration from, because chocolate is very important, I guess. It's like one of the few luxuries, right?
Okay.
They had to reduce it from 30 grams to 20 grams because I don't know, something with war. When you're at war, like, there's not much available in this world, even for like the
Right.
top party members. Like they live in a much better conditions, but it's not like they have yachts like fucking Bezos or
Right.
Musk, like they're not going to the moon like Katy Perry. But they do live in like nicer apartments and they can do whatever they want, but except for go to the moon. But anyway, so Winston's job is to change all of the news articles about the chocolate to say instead of being decreased from 30 to 20, oh, our great government, Big Brother, we love him so much. He increased our chocolate rations to 20 grams. Isn't that so great? And so he changes it all. So it's basically like pissing on your leg and telling you it's raining,
Right.
which I read online. I was like, I love that. I'm going to use that. I'm going to try and slip that
Is
into
that the first
conversation.
time you've heard that saying?
Yes,
Oh my God.
I loved it.
It's
So,
funny, yeah.
so basically, this is all to say there's a huge theme throughout the book called doublethink. And that's what
Okay.
doublethink is like pissing on your leg and
Right.
telling you that it's raining. And if you say, no, you're pissing on my leg, then you get the shit beat out of you.
What the
So
hell?
you're basically like, yeah, it's raining. Yep. But take it a step further. You literally believe it's raining.
Well, we see that happening now.
Give me an example.
Oh, well, shit, don't put me on the spot. Well, okay, people are saying that groceries are cheaper.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
are you
exactly.
actually at the grocery store shopping? Because no, the fuck it's not.
So yeah, that's so we can pause here and talk about the whole Thanksgiving thing because it does apply. Like basically Trump was like, "Oh no, Thanksgiving is the Thanksgiving basket, right? Is 25% cheaper, but
Right.
it's not. It's just 25 there's 25% less items in it."
And last year it was all name brand
Oh,
items, and now it's all
great
good
value.
value,
Great
great
value.
value. Yeah, whatever it is.
It's victory value.
Victory. So yeah, so
Mhm.
yeah, it's cheaper, but it's not the name brand stuff,
Yep.
for one. It's not the same items. It's a different basket. So you
Yep.
can't really compare it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not like you can't it's not apples to apples. It's apples to
Right.
less apples, basically.
Right.
Yeah. Um so yeah, while and so that was when he was at work, and when he's at work he basically just like fudges, he alters, that's what I'm trying to say, he alters the past, right? So the past is
Okay.
alterable, but while he's doing this he's constantly reflecting like, how is the past alterable, what happened, right? So he's like this is fucked up, this is wrong, right? And he keeps thinking this, and like he accidentally commits like he's committing thought crime this whole time, right? So it's a
Because
thing in the
even
book.
thinking is
Yeah.
against the law.
Yes, it's called thought crime. And so if you can be accused of thought crime, they'll send you to the Ministry of Love and they'll fix you because they love you so much, right?
Right.
They're gonna fix you, right? But the whole book is thought crime for Winston. But there's also something called face crime, which I feel like I commit a face crime daily. Like I'm
Right. I was
constantly,
like, I'm committing one right now.
it's a real thing at work. I'm like, I'm on camera. I have to, I
Usually
have,
about resting bitch face and stuff. I'm thinking about like I look like shit.
no, 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 no. I'm like someone says something to me and my face goes like this. What?
Right. The hell are you talking about?
That actually happened to one of my coworkers. I'm like, you're on camera. Like,
Like, hey, yeah,
don't
fix your
forget.
face.
Usually it's me, so I was happy it was someone else. But um, so, oh, and there's also like dream crime. Like Winston has a dream about and he calls out, something about his mom, and then like Big Brother picks that up, and so it's like, oh, Winston's thinking about his mom who we killed. He's not allowed to be thinking about her because he
In
killed her.
his dreams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, you can't just say like, "Oh, Big Brother 1984 is just like America," because it's really not. But
Right.
you know, we're gonna have this conversation about how it is, but it's not,
Okay.
yeah. So, but
I mean, but also the book is an extreme version,
Mhm.
and Florida, the US is getting there, but it's not
Yeah,
as extreme as the book.
right, and it's not gonna
But still
be
what's happening is pretty extreme.
exact, and especially when you think about like the other day, what was I talking to my one of my kids about something, like that they wanted for Christmas, and of course, oh, those jelly cats, those really expensive stuffed animal jelly cats.
No.
They're so expensive and they're super soft and
Really?
they're like, like the most expensive stuffed animal you can ever imagine. It's like $25 for like a
Listen,
small bunny.
I thought the American dolls that are still popular
Yeah,
were expensive. They're like 100 and
they
something for a
are.
doll.
Yeah, this is like American Girl doll, but for stuffed animals, basically. Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, my daughter was like, I want a jelly cat. And I was like, those are really expensive. And I'm like, since when do you want stuffed animals? Like I thought we were past this. But anyway,
Right.
not 10 minutes later, I open Instagram and there's an ad for jelly cat. And
Yes.
so this is very, very relevant. If they can do that for capitalism, right? Which
Right.
fine. You want me to buy a jelly cat? That doesn't mean that I'm going to buy a jelly cat, right? But like if they have that ability, like who's to say it's going to stop there, right?
Right.
And I think, there are other conversations happening on the internet already about this,
Yes.
about how like all the data that Elon Musk stole from Americans is going to be used to have more power by all these
Yeah.
like nefarious men who are much smarter than Donald Trump, right? And who are telling Donald Trump what to say. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because it's the PayPal mafia or like the tech bros or whatever.
Right.
Like apparently, according to some people, like they're pulling all the strings, so even if Donald Trump died tomorrow, JD Vance would be president, and JD Vance was put into his position essentially by the guy who invented PayPal and blah 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 blah. So anyway,
So it's a whole rabbit hole you go down.
yeah, I'm not gonna go
But
down.
I will say they are already using, like I've heard, or like it was announced, that our conversations are already being tracked to find illegal immigrants, quote unquote,
Or Antifa.
or Antifa, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Mhm.
we are being monitored. Big
Yep,
Brother is watching.
yep. So Big Brother is essentially AI, right? Or tech,
Yes.
whatever you want to call it, AI tech, where and Antifa is the brotherhood, right? So in this book, there's Big Brother, and then there's the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood is like Antifa, right? It's not an actual organization, like it's just sort of an idea, right? Like
Okay.
Antifa is not an organization. It's just people that are like, this is fucked up. We are anti-fascist,
Right.
you know? And so the brother that's there's a similar group in the book. And so Winston thinks, hey, maybe O'Brien is Antifa or not Antifa. What are they? Maybe O'Brien is part of the Brotherhood, right? My cat is meowing really loudly. I don't know why.
I can't hear. Hopefully you couldn't hear my dog clickety
No,
clackety
no,
all over the
yeah, I
place.
can't hear anything on your end. I'm sure you can't hear my cat. It's just I'm just
No,
what
you're
the fuck
good.
she wants me to do right now.
She's like, feed me, obviously.
It's cold. It's cold here. I'm wearing two pairs of socks. Okay. Because our house is not equipped for this. Like we have the heat
I'm
on, but it
wearing a
doesn't matter.
sweater, but only because I had my uniform on and I just took the shirt off
Retired
and was like,
hot
I need
girl.
something else to cover myself with.
I just realized what your sweater says. It says retired hot girl. Why are you retired? Are you a hot woman now?
That's right.
Okay.
Hot woman now.
But here's mine. Mine
I'm a
says,
hot MILF now.
yes, that's what we need.
I'm
Mine
kidding.
says,
Don't watch because you're going to see that I'm lying through my teeth. Just
you are
listen to the
a MILF.
podcast.
Everyone listening, please go and watch and confirm that Jennifer is a hot MILF. Thank you. That's your first assignment. Okay, my shirt says, all my homies hate
Hate
fascists.
fascists. Is that
And
an
it's,
Antifa shirt?
yeah, it is.
It
And
is.
it's Tom, the cat from Tom and Jerry.
Oh, I love that.
And it's got it says no ice,
How
basically.
did I not see that sooner? I
I just
love
got it.
it.
I got it or my husband got it for me at this like at the punk festival. The punk festival where all the punks go
Nice.
in Gainesville.
Listen, punks are very progressive, right?
Yeah, they are. I
The
keep trying to
majority of
tell
them.
him he needs to start a punk podcast, he's got one already, but it's not political. I'm like, you need to get political. He's like, I don't want
Right.
to get political. I'm like, get political.
We have to.
We have to. Yeah. So I'm like, this is maybe like a baby step for him to get political on his podcast. But right now, all they do is talk about like music and bands, and it's like
Yeah.
so boring in my opinion. Whereas like he would never listen to us talk about 1984. This is his nightmare. Everyone's different. Anyway,
We need to do
there's
like a little crossover episode.
right. Okay, so I've said this before. I think I want his podcast to be DILF. Okay, not so dads into lyrical freedom
There
because
you go.
punks are constantly their lyrics are all about like Antifa, basically
Right.
all of
Right.
them, and there's always an overlap. And he could spend years doing episodes about punk music and punk lyrics, and it's
Yes.
$1 million idea. So maybe we'll see. Let's just start our own podcast network.
We'll
Um,
just use the filter that gives us like a beard.
we're the DILFs.
Right.
I love
Deepen up our
that.
voices a little. We can
Yeah,
do
we should
it.
do it. We'd have to listen to a bunch of punk music though.
Oh shit, I'm out.
Yeah.
Not because I just don't know it, Like I
Yeah,
wouldn't
and
even
it's
know
like
what to do.
they scream it. I'm like, I can't listen to you when you're screaming.
Listen, I am into it. I
Yeah.
like a variety of things, as long as it's not, I even like some country,
Oh, I
but
don't
I
like any
cannot,
country anymore. I'm
I'm
off
just
the
not smart
countryside.
enough to like
Yes,
find
you are.
like the meaning behind lyrics sometimes.
Well, yeah,
Once
sometimes
it's
you,
explained to me, I'm like, oh, yeah,
yeah.
that makes total sense.
Well, that's why we need the podcast.
Yes.
And that's the same with books. Like, listen, I'm going to spoil the shit out of this book because I know you're not going to read it.
I'm
People
not.
listening, and people listening aren't going to read this either.
I have it. I say I want to,
Yeah,
and then I keep skipping it.
get ready. Here we go. Spoilers. All right. So, Winston is dreaming we're talking about, dream crime, and he's remembering, when he has a family, right? And he's remembering like how his mom like loved him so much, and how basically how like those are times in the past, and like you don't feel love like that for another person
Right.
right now. The love that's replaced with love for your government, it's patriotism. Yeah, so it's
Mm.
replaced with love for Big Brother, and that's why it's called brother, like a family member, right? So he's
Ugh.
recalling when, like his mother and how much she loved him, and she was, and his father too, they were basically, gotten rid of, I guess, and they call them the great purges of the 40s and 50s. Um, so that was kind of sad. Oh, but going back to how his job at the Ministry of Truth, and how he basically rewrites historical records within, to fit the party's current ideas. I wanted to draw an analogy to the CDC and National Institute of Health, the NIH, right? And how they, under this administration, this MAGA administration, authoritarian administration, had to remove or flag hundreds of words, right? Which that's old news. You remember that?
Right.
It's old news, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All kinds of new news today, like Trump's in the Epstein files. Ooh, wow, who would have
Right.
thought? Is anything gonna happen?
Shocker.
No, we all knew he
No.
was in the Epstein files.
Right.
I'm glad that politician lady, I don't know her name, was finally sworn in though.
Oh,
Um,
was she? I missed that.
that's how the Epstein files were released, because they didn't want to swear her
Oh,
in, because they're
see,
all
I
know.
told you, I'm like out of it. I know that like some emails were released,
Well,
but
yeah,
not the
Epstein.
full.
Yeah, it was like, oh no, yeah, Trump's in it,
Yeah.
and Epstein said that he spent lots of time with this victim, and
Right.
we fucking know that. But anyway, it's because there's this woman who was elected to some fucking House Senate seat. I don't know. I can't even remember her.
Right.
I can sort of picture
And
it
that
now.
Mike Johnson guy wouldn't
Wouldn't swear her in.
right.
Finally, she's been sworn in. Anyway, that's the new news. But let's go back to the old news. Let's go back to the simpler time when words were being banned. Do you know? Do you remember some of those words?
No.
Okay, Hispanic.
Really?
Mhm. It's either flagged. I don't think it was removed, but it's flagged. So like if you
Okay.
have like for the CDC or NIH, like if you have a scientific article that was studying Hispanic populations, right? For whatever, could be for anything, could be for, like diabetes or something, right?
Right.
That would be flagged. Okay.
Huh.
Um, and but the list is really long, right? So here's some of the words: transgender, no surprise there.
Shock, right?
Non-binary, pregnant person, also not a surprise. I'm going to read you all the ones that aren't surprising. Let's see: allyship, inclusion, indigenous, gender, LGBTQ, racism. Not surprising. Here are the ones that were also flagged, which I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm
Well, I'm
sorry.
like, what the fuck to all of them? Okay, but
Right.
here's
But
a new
those were
layer.
expected. Like
Right.
we're not surprised that
Yeah.
this administration would flag those words.
Right. Here's a new layer of what the fuck. Peanut allergies. Um,
Oh, okay.
microplastics. Climate science. Did I say that one? Water quality in women,
Huh.
which is not really,
Women.
yeah. But like women, it's such a general
Right.
word,
You would feel
women.
like women would pop up in a lot of studies, and
Yeah. That would
that's
be a
weird.
lot. Think about how much is flagged there. Sorry, I'm just checking my phone to see if anyone's messaging me at work.
Like, ma'am, you're supposed to be on a Zoom call.
No, I don't have any meetings, but I'm just like, yeah, no one's tagged me in anything, so it's okay. Anyway, uh, this is our future now. Don't tell anyone, okay? And I'm not telling anyone where I work. It is a complete secret. Same with you, right? No one knows where we work.
Right.
Anyway,
Hopefully.
uh, so let's go back to women. So the government's been shut down for a while. We've talked about that. It's about to, I think it's going to reopen because of a few shitty Democrats who are caving and not giving us the healthcare subsidies that we need, and
Right.
also making abortion fucking just full on illegal and throughout the whole country. Thanks
Right.
a lot, Democrats. You
Yeah,
suck as
dumbasses.
always. Yeah.
We just had a huge victory, right, with the
Yes,
Democrats, like a blue wave, and then they come in
Mamdani.
and do this bullshit,
Hmm.
which the Democrats did not back him,
Yeah, no, that's right. They
which is
didn't.
bullshit too. Like,
Yeah. Well, not some of them did, like the
very not
Democratic
enough though.
Socialists.
Like he didn't have the backing, the full backing that he needed. So it's bullshit, and I am really pissed off about this because
Yeah,
they
not
needed
surprised.
to hold the line.
Yeah,
And what is this?
and they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Um, what else? Oh, uh, RFK, crazy guy, RFK Jr., health guy, allegedly crazy guy. He is
Heroin user or ex-heroin
the guy
user.
that blended up mice in college in front of a bunch of people.
I didn't know that.
He blended up live mice. I think he was going to feed
Ew.
them to like a pet snake or something, but he did that in front. It was like a party trick. Anyway, that's not normal behavior. He's now the Secretary of Health.
No.
Not does It's just so many things wrong with it. That's just like the tip of the iceberg. But anyway, his nephew Jack Schlossberg, who is also JFK's grandson, okay, is running for Senate in New York. So and he's a Democratic Socialist, I think.
Oh, is he?
But so I've been following him on social media, and he is out there. He's wild. He's like not a typical Democrat. Like he's like shock value Democrat or shock value politician. You know how like Gavin
Okay.
Newsom has been like fighting back, like
Yeah.
fighting fire with fire. Like you can't take the fucking high road anymore. Stop
No.
taking the high road. When we had Miss Frazzled on, she said the same thing. It's like you have to appeal to the masses. Like you have to get on their level, right? Gavin
Right.
Newsom is doing that. Jack Schlossberg is doing that, right? So I think, I'm optimistically speaking, might see a shift in the Democrats towards more of like a democratic socialism,
Right.
um, which again, socialism is just evil, right?
Right. It pisses me off because Bernie, right, falls under that category.
He's a democratic socialist, yeah.
And they said he was too old. He's still kicking
He
ass.
would have been the best.
He's still sound of mind.
Look at
Like
him now.
way more solid brain than Trump today or back then.
That is the most infuriating thing about the past 8 years of this
Yes.
country. Like when was that he was running? It was when,
2016?
yeah, and here we are, 2025. Like he could have been the president twice by now.
And where would we be? Like, I feel like we'd be in such a
Yes.
great fucking
We
place,
would
you
not
know?
have this podcast.
That's true. But
Well,
you know what?
I'd be
I
fine
it's
with
a
that.
price I'm willing to pay. Like that's still it would have been great,
I'd be 100% fine with not having this podcast if that.
right? We wouldn't be working probably because our husbands would make enough.
Exactly. I'm totally fine with that.
FYI, that is feminism. We don't have to work if we don't want to, damn it.
That's right. Yeah, I'd be in my pottery studio just making fun little mugs for fun. They
Right.
wouldn't have snarky political sayings on them. They would have
Yes,
rainbows on them. Now they
exactly.
have rainbows and snarky political sayings. Okay. All right, moving on. What were we talking? Oh, that's right. We're talking about so the elimination of words, right? So that kind of
Yeah.
goes along with what Winston does as a job, but also this whole newspeak language is essentially to uh discourage intellectualism, discourage individual thought. There's a quote in the book, one of Winston's comrades slash, associates, not really his friend, is it's a beautiful thing, the destruction of words. And this is ironic because this guy's sign, he's like really into destroying words, and he's like really trying to prove that he is a loyal party member to Big Brother, right? But he's super smart, right? He ends up being vaporized, which I think means death, by the party because he's too smart. They're like, listen, we're going to
No
use this
matter what he
guy.
did, he was still too smart for
Yeah,
them.
they're like, oh, he did a lot of work in destroying words for us and creating this new language, Newspeak, but we got what we needed out of him. He's too smart. We can't have him around. So he's quote, he's vaporized. Um, so yeah, and so Winston sees that, and when in conversations with him, he's like, man, this guy's way too smart. He's got to play it dumb a little bit, or he's gonna get vaporized, and then he ends up getting vaporized. So that's your first spoiler.
Okay.
Um, I'm just going through my notes here. We already talked about face crime. Oh yeah, and so when Winston accidentally commits face crime when he's in the mess hall, because they don't even have like grocery stores, or like they can't eat at home. They like eat at this in this like communal cafeteria with all of their comrades, right? And so there's a news screen on, and it like reports on how the chocolate rations got increased from 20 to 20 grams instead of reduced, right? And so he commits face crime on accident, because he's upset about that, because he's the one that had to write that article, right? And
So he knows.
yeah, so he's like, shit, I just committed face crime. And this woman sees him, she's called the dark-haired woman. Her name is Julia, so I'm just gonna call her Julia from now on. But she's the dark-haired woman that he's like, I need to kill her because she's gonna kill me. So it's like a kill or be killed situation.
Okay,
And
because she
also,
saw him.
yeah. And Winston hates women at this point because he likes his mom, though, even though he's not like a, what's it called? He's not like a mass.
Incel.
Yeah, he's not an incel or a masochist. Is masochist a word?
No,
Whatever.
masochist is when they like to be like they like pain.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. That's not the
He's
word I needed.
like he's not a mama's boy. No, he
Yeah,
is a mama's boy.
no, he's not. What am I trying to think of?
Lisa?
Yes, that's what it is. It starts with an M. Like he's not like a sexist guy,
Okay.
but he does hate women, and I'll explain why. Okay, you
Okay.
can be like, how are you not sexist but you hate women? It's
Right.
because Big Brother has basically conditioned all women to be puritists, right?
Okay.
So they're basically like, what's it called? Chastity chasers, you know? So like they're the women have been conditioned or brainwashed, if you will, to think that like sex is bad and it's impure, and they're part of the anti-sex league. It's literally called the anti-sex league, right? And so they're like, we are celibate, we are not getting married, and that's what Big Brother wants. Big Brother
Why?
doesn't, because Big Brother just wants all of their energy that goes into love and lust into into the government instead of each other. So I have a really good quote if I could
Okay.
find it later on. I think it's in my notes, but when I find it, I'll read it to you, and it really sums up like basically how much people stop like loving each other and how they just start lusting for their government. It's pretty weird. So that's
Okay.
another
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
difference. Yeah, because it's a difference from our society, because we do have that puritanism going on, but we don't have the celibacy going on because we want
Not
babies.
right. They want babies.
Mhm.
They do.
And
It's weird though.
yeah, so they want kids, right? To make the government stronger, right?
Yeah.
So Winston has a wife. Her name's Catherine,
Oh,
or he
he's
had.
married?
No, he was married. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he was married, and Catherine, she she hated sex because she was conditioned to hate it and to think that it was wrong, right? And so, but they would have sex once a week because it was, she called it duty to the party to get
Okay.
pregnant, right?
I was gonna
So,
ask, like, how are they reproducing?
and that's what Big Brother wants them to do. They wanted to, we found out later in the book, they want it to be like a once a month thing where it's like you just do it once a month and they get rid of the orgasm somehow. They're going to get rid of the orgasm. And I think that's
Okay.
part of why this book is on banned or challenged lists, is because it talks about things like sex and orgasm and purity and all that stuff. So
Okay.
basically, they're like, yeah, we're going to eventually get rid of the orgasm, and sex is just going to be like a transactional thing that results in pregnancy, right? And so they do want kids, and these kids are actually immediately put into this group like called the Spies, which is, to me, it's like more of like a Boy Scout thing. It's like a Boy Scouts, but you're spies, and you're basically spying on your parents. And if your parents fuck up, you tell on them because you have no allegiance to your parents. You have allegiance to your
Wow.
brother. Yeah. So anyway, spy kids will like are trained to like use these ear trumpets to like listen through keyholes and incriminate conversations between adults. And that reminds me of Siri and Alexa and
Yes.
Instagram listening to you. So it
Yeah.
also reminds me of the teachers who made comments about Charlie Kirk on their social media and got fired.
Right.
So I looked into that, and there are several teachers who were fired for making comments about Charlie Kirk, and they're suing. And
Good, because that's
yeah.
freaking ridiculous. Like,
Mhm.
they're allowed to have an opinion on this basic ass man.
Yeah. And so here's one that I wrote down that was very specific. It was an elementary teacher from Spartanburg, South Carolina, who was fired for putting this on her social. I'm assuming it's a woman. I think subconsciously I read it was a woman somewhere, but anyway, she wrote this on her social media. It's worth having, quote, it's worth having some gun deaths every single year to protect the Second Amendment, end quote.
It's his literal quote,
That's all
something
she
he said.
quoted him. Okay.
Yeah.
And then after that, all she wrote was thoughts and prayers. That's it. And then
Like,
she gets fucking fired.
that's
Anyway,
that's
she's
fine.
suing. Hopefully it works out well for her. We don't know yet though.
I mean,
Um,
even if she said, I'm glad he's dead, who cares? That's her First Amendment right.
exactly. And people did say, I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah.
And they're still facing consequences for it, which I unfair consequences, I think. Yeah, because if you have a private social media, like the guy we talked to from Oklahoma,
Right.
what was it, Aaron something? I forgot his name because I can't
You
remember.
spoke to him. I wasn't there for that one,
Oh, you
remember?
weren't there. Well, then it's my fault. I can't remember his name. His first name is Aaron, and he's somewhere. You can just go listen to one of our episodes. But he's the Oklahoma social studies teacher, and he has two separate accounts. He has his private social media account, or no, he doesn't even let kids follow him, which is what we're taught as teachers. Like,
Right.
you can have social media, but don't let parents or teacher or students follow you. I'm like, done. That's easy to do. You know,
Right.
I knew
But
a
also,
guy,
like, now with, like, let's say TikTok, that's like, why can't you have a public page?
and he does, Aaron, actually,
Like,
and he doesn't get in trouble for that. And
yeah,
he
that's
talks political stuff all the time. It's really just it's about who's your superintendent. It's about how red is your county, how red is your, or I don't want to say red, but like how extreme is your boss.
right.
That's really what it boils down
As long as you're not wearing, like, filming in school where it's visible that, like the name of the school
to.
or your company, whoever you work for,
Yeah,
right?
you
Like,
do
as
what
long
you
as
want.
in uniform or whatever, who cares?
Because
That's your personal life.
we're supposed to be the freest country on the planet, and we're
Right.
not. We're not.
Yeah. To me, that's so crazy. Like, how are you? You're just my employer.
Hmm.
You don't rule my whole fucking life.
Hmm.
I work for you from, 9 to 5 or whatever it is. And from while I'm at your place of employment or my
Yeah,
place of employment, yes, you can govern like certain things,
right.
but not,
Not at home. Yeah,
yeah,
and I don't know why teachers are like unfairly targeted. Like,
right.
because like you don't hear of like lawyers getting fired from their law firm or like
Right.
grocery store clerks getting fired from the grocery store they work, unless it's a hate crime, unless it's like race, because you have heard of people like coming out and like being like, I know like the woman who accused like the black autistic kid at the park of stealing a toy. Remember
Oh,
that?
yeah, yeah.
She got fired, but
Did
that's
she?
different. Yeah.
Okay. I
But
didn't know.
that's different because her place of employment was like, we don't condone this behavior, right?
Yeah, to me that's different because that's actual racism. Like
And
that's just wrong.
that's what people have a problem with understanding, which why and how this book is so important is like we have to develop our critical thinking skills and be able to have these conversations with each other so that we know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah.
And and people will be like, well, if you know, if a woman can get fired for being racist and blah blah blah, then they can get fired for quoting Charlie Kirk. Like, no, it's different. You
It
know,
is very different.
I will play devil's advocate and say if someone was like, I'm glad he died, he was a shitty person and deserved to be shot. That's a different conversation because then you have that mentality and you work with students and kids. You know,
Right.
like that's different. Like, sure, that's where it gets a little bit like, okay, we need to have a conversation because your account is public and people can see you and you represent us and we don't
Right.
think anybody deserves to be shot. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, yeah. You're advocating for violence, and that's
Right.
weird.
Exactly. And this woman who in Spartansburg, North Carolina, was not advocating for violence. She was quoting him and just saying, "Well, that's what happens when we don't have gun laws." Like she was
Right.
advocating for safer gun laws. There's
Right,
different.
right.
And that's where this disconnect is because people don't read books. So,
Yeah.
anyway, Winston has sex with a prostitute. Sorry, a sex worker. They say prostitute in the book. Um,
Okay.
he has sex with a sex worker, proletarian sex worker, because his wife Catherine doesn't want to have sex with him. So anytime they have sex, it's like he describes it as like having sex with like a rigid board. So I think that's another reason why this might be banned because, but it wasn't a graphic, description of
Yeah.
sex. It was just like she hates it. Anytime I touch her, she gets really rigid and it's like there's
Right.
no warmth, there's no love. Like that's all it says.
Okay.
So it's not graphic at all. But it is, painting a picture, I guess. But so anyway, he describes having sex with this sex worker, but again, not in graphic detail, just that he's like has shame about it because he's like it yeah, I he struggles with the fact that he had to do it, but he just wanted a connection. He wanted someone
Right.
who wasn't going to push him away.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did they get away with that under Big Brother?
That's what I was about to explain. There
Okay.
aren't really any laws. Like it's not like it's hard to explain. So it's not like a very strict way of living. Like they're the proletarians or
I
it's
mean, it's pretty
proletarians.
strict if you can't make a face.
Right. So
Okay,
that's
you
so let
vaporized.
me explain. So the proletariats can do whatever they want.
Okay.
They don't have telescreens in their apartments. They can make face crimes, they can have thought crimes, they can say and do whatever they want. They can have sex with anyone. They can have as many babies as they want because they're the bottom of the pyramid, right? Of caste, which is a theme we've talked about a lot in this
Yeah.
show. But they are seen as animals to Big Brother and they don't matter, right? So there's no laws in terms of sex work or drugs or thievery or gambling or anything like that for the proletariats. But for the Big Brother members, which Winston is one, you're not allowed to do those things. And so Winston could get in trouble. Like he could get arrested and
Okay.
be sent to the Ministry of Love. But Big Brother knows that men cannot control their urges as well as women. So they kind of look the other way when men go and have sex with the proletariats because they're like, whatever, they kind of, I get it. So they're just
Yeah.
like, but they will.
They're just boys, you know? Boys will be boys, I mean.
Yeah, I know. But you know how like sometimes the cops will go out and they'll like write a bunch of speeding tickets because they are told to do it. Like, oh, my sign went out again. It's kind of similar to that where it's like, okay, we need to crack down on the sex work, so we're gonna go do it. So you never know when it's gonna happen.
Okay.
Yeah. But that being said, the women don't have as much of an issue. They're like, yeah, fine, we can be celibate. Yeah, that's totally fine with us.
Right.
Oh, and also Julia, the dark-haired woman, she works for like the fiction department. So she like writes books and things. She actually works for a department called pornosec, and it's exactly, it's porn. So they
Right.
basically write like really like shitty, cheaply written porn, and they like put it in these like black bags, and then they like sell it on the black market to proletariats, and the proles actually think they are buying something illegal, but really it's just put out by Big Brother. So it's like Big Brother doesn't care. It's just a facade. Like this Puritanism is
Okay.
like it's a
Which
facade.
that's a message too,
Mhm.
right? Like in the book, like this is bullshit.
Yeah, like let's talk about like the Christian nationalism. It's not
Yes.
actually Christian. It's a facade to
Have you
control
seen
women.
have you seen those TikToks that have gone kind of viral within the past week or two?
No, I haven't been on TikTok in a while.
So this girl, her name I believe is Nicole or Nikolai, something like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
And I'll add it to the show or I'll have you add it to the show notes
Yeah,
later.
send it, text it to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll find it. But basically she was doing like a social experiment and she was calling
Oh yeah,
churches.
yeah. No, that's on Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. So she was calling these churches and you know, for those of you that don't know or whenever you listen to this might be off time, the government was shut down, SNAP benefits were cut off,
Hmm.
and so a lot of people are struggling right now.
Yeah.
Well, it might reopen now, but so she was calling churches and like testing them. And she
Hmm.
would have a crying baby in the background and she would say like, "Hey, listen, I'm out of formula. I've called several places. I can't get any help. I just need one can of formula. Can you help me out?" And it was something like out of 29 churches, only 3 offered to help.
Yeah, I saw, I think in, so that story kind of got bigger and bigger. And like she could tell, like, oh, people were actually like following to see these results. And so
Yes.
she called a mosque and a synagogue. And they both, and granted, this is a small sample size. So as a
Right.
scientist, I was like, you need to call 10 mosques and 10 synagogues as well. But, you know, they said yes. And meanwhile,
Immediately.
yeah, immediately. And the churches, I think it was like 20% said yes
Right.
they would help. And 20% is really low. And yeah, take the synagogue and the mosque out of the equation, right?
Right.
Doesn't matter. You're a Christian organization and that is the basis of your organization is to help. And only 20% of you are actually not being hypocrites.
Exactly. It was very like I mean, I wasn't shocked. I was
Yeah.
not shocked at all by this. And I will give credit to just so it's not like, oh, it's anti-Christian.
Mm-hmm.
She also called a pro-life clinic. So one of those places where they t try to talk you into
Oh,
keeping your baby,
uh-huh.
and they immediately said yes as well.
Oh, okay.
So I
Yeah.
mean, like I'm not I am pro-life, but you know what I mean? Like
No, I know.
I'm pro-choice,
Mm-hmm.
and at least this pro-life clinic stood on its values and was like, we're
Yes.
not just about the baby, having
Yeah.
the baby, but we also want to support the mother
Mm-hmm.
and the baby after it's born.
Right. And I, yeah, there are Christians out there that are pro-life, right? But they will also practice what they preach, right?
Right.
And that's
Not just
important.
pro-birth, but
Yeah,
actual pro-life.
exactly. Yeah. Because defunding SNAP is not pro-life.
No.
Defunding healthcare is not pro-life. Like this is and I'm glad you brought made that connection because to the book, like, yeah, Big Brother doesn't really care if you have sex with a sex worker or whatever. Like they want to be able to control you, right?
Right.
And so getting back to the book, Big Brother control because the proles consist of 85% of Oceania. That's a huge percentage. And so Winston's constantly reflecting throughout the book, like, why don't the proles just get up and rebel? Like all they would have to do is have one, uprising and this would all be over. And so he's like, why isn't that happening? And so but basically it's because Big Brother keeps these proles in control with like, the bread and circuses mechanism. Are you familiar with bread and circuses?
No.
I think you once I explain it to you, you'll be like, oh yeah, because I always forget what it's called, but it's so back in like the Roman ages, or is it Greek? I think it was Roman. Greek or Roman? Greek, Roman,
Okay.
Roman, where they would have what's it called when they would fight to the death?
Oh, like the
Gladiators.
gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gladiators, I think, was Greek. And then Constantinople, came in and was like Christian. I'm fucking up this history so bad. But something about like Christianity was like, we can't be killing people for sport, right? That checks out, right? I don't think Jesus Christ would be cool with gladiators killing
Right.
each other for sport? So they're like, instead of gladiators, let's do like circuses and things. And they would have like chariot races, right? And they would have like I don't know, just like circuses. And so they would send the poor people to these like events, right? And they would give them bread and entertain them with things like chariot races. And I think it was okay for bears to fight to the death, but not for humans. So like bears would
Okay.
fight each other, bear fights and stuff. While they were I guess like to distract them from their shitty way of living, like the
Yeah.
fact that they didn't have a lot of food or they didn't have like good places to live and stuff like that. So it's called bread and circuses. And I did not do a very good job at explaining it. But do you know what I mean now?
Yeah, yeah. Like, oh, look, you get to do these fun things,
Yeah.
so you should be happy with life.
Yeah. Like
Here's that you
distract.
don't have food and.
Yeah. And we see that today too. But in the book, it's the lottery, right? And so the pros are distracted with the lottery, which Big Brother runs, and it's like this like 0.00001% chance of like winning the lottery. And so you can like win a bunch of money and not live in squalor anymore. They also eliminate dangerous individuals like that they might think will rise up uh and they spread rumors about like war and stuff. They're like, oh, we're at war with so and so. And then like and they also like drop rocket bombs on these people on trolls and like children will die. Like they dropped one on like a park and a bunch of kids died, right? And it was just completely normal, right? But the trolls think that it was like East Asia or Eurasia that dropped a rocket on them. So they're like, oh, we're at war, Oceania and Big Brother. They're like fighting to keep us safe.
Right.
But it's actually Big Brother that's dropping these rocket bombs on them.
So they're creating these. Okay, I get
Mhm.
it.
Yep. So I wrote it down. I said, um, Oceania is always at war, and this allows the government to make excuses for high labor demands and low ration supplies. And it also creates like a sense of patriotism within the
Yes.
people, where it's like, oh, we're doing this for our country. Like we're working long hours and um, you know, receiving virtually no food so that we can try and beat the enemy, right?
Did you see? Because that's giving very much that tweet or whatever you call the Truth Social post that Trump made
Mm-hmm.
about the air traffic controllers.
Oh, what did he say?
Hold on, let me pull it up.
Because yeah, I know obviously while you're pulling it up, because the government is shut down,
Right.
air traffic controllers haven't been paid. And the ones that are still showing up to go to work are showing up without getting paid. I'm surprised there hasn't been more incidences uh than like what we saw at the beginning of the year when this happened.
So he put out this message. All air traffic controllers must get back to work now. Anyone who doesn't will be substantially docked. For those air traffic controllers who were great patriots. Oh, wait, I messed that up. Will be docked. For those air traffic controllers who were great patriots. Shit. Hold on, my phone's a piece of shit. It froze.
I get what you're saying. The word patriots, like it's patriotism. So like he's Big Brother saying like, oh, if you come to work without getting paid, you're a patriot, right?
Well, no, yes, exactly. If you kept coming to work without getting paid, so it says, and didn't take any time off for the Democrat shutdown hoax. So now this whole shutdown is a hoax.
Right.
I will be recommending a bonus of $10,000 per person for distinguished service to our country.
Oh my God.
Like trying to honor them for working for free.
Mhm.
And he was asked where he's going to get this money from, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know. We'll find it somehow."
No, he gave it all to Argentina.
Yeah. Which, by the way, they just voted on that last night
Oh yeah.
about I think it was keeping the the insurance premiums low
Mhm.
and reinvesting that money back into insurance premiums instead
Yeah.
of sending it to Argentina.
Yeah.
And it was shut down. They said no.
Surprise, surprise. I saw that.
Surprise. Right.
I saw one post on Instagram. I was like, cool, if only. And then I just kept.
Right.
I was like,
Yeah.
fuck,
It's
I don't have any faith in anything anymore.
yeah.
I
I
still
mean,
show up.
not surprised at all.
Yeah,
But yeah, imagine putting out that kind of tweet. Like you're mad at these people for having to feed their families.
yeah. For having to go somewhere that will actually pay them. They're not like, oh, I'm not going to show up because I hate you and I am rebelling against you. I actually have to go somewhere where I can get paid.
Right. They have bills to pay.
Yeah,
They have children to feed.
yeah.
And meanwhile, actually showing up makes you a great patriot.
Mhm. Yep. So that, thanks for bringing that up. I knew having this conversation with you. See, you don't even have to read the book. All I have to do is tell you something in the book, and you'll be like, "Oh, that's this. That's this." That's
Right.
how like connected this book is to our government.
Really is.
And everyone, guys should, even though I am spoiling it for you, you guys still need to read it because it is beautifully written. And I have wrote down all these quotes that I wanted to read because like Orwell really is. I mean, the way he writes is like it he explains himself, or like Winston explaining himself 5 different times. So you're finally like by the end of it, you're like, oh, okay. Like, thank you for repeating that for me because like I really am not following what you're saying. But like
Okay.
he says it over and over again. So it's like,
Right.
okay, I know I'm not totally understanding what I'm reading right now, but I know that in the next few pages, like he will explain it. Does that make
Oh,
sense?
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a really good way of reading, or writing, I think. But um so anyway, let's just keep moving on throughout the book. Oh, I know what I was going to say. You brought up the democratic shutdown, government shutdown hoax. That is a perfect example of doublethink.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's actually working because these people, these Republicans, right? Because obviously it's not Democrats.
Right.
It's these Republicans that actually believe that it's raining. They don't actually think it's piss on their leg. They think it's
Yes.
rain. When in reality it's not the Democrats that are shutting down the government. Like
Yeah.
they're basically saying like, no, you cannot triple Americans' health insurance premiums. They're not saying we want to shut down the government. They're saying we don't want to triple Americans' healthcare premiums.
Right.
It's not rain, it's piss.
It's also saying like SNAP benefits are, paused because of the Democrats. No, because Republicans could release funds to keep SNAP benefits going. It always has. This is what, the third government shutdown or something like
Yes,
that?
and they're all like Trump has had the longest shutdowns and the most shutdowns. I don't know the most, but I think definitely the longest shutdowns of any
Yeah.
president. Oh, I was saying I didn't have I actually wrote this quote down. Um, it says, "Day and night telescreens bruised your ears with statistics proving that people today had more food, more clothes, better houses, better recreations, that they lived longer, worked shorter hours, were healthier," and then it goes on and on and on. And that I'm like, this is exactly what Trump is saying, and that's when we talked about the Walmart Thanksgiving basket and all that. But
Yeah. No, he's constantly like claiming things that aren't true.
mhm.
So like I just saw a clip today of him promising to use the tariffs to pay for this. But then in another one he's promising to give everyone in the middle class or lower class $2,000 stipend. Did you
Yeah.
see that?
Uh,
And it's coming from the tariffs.
okay.
But then if you run the numbers, what we've supposedly made from the tariffs is something like, I don't know, just because I don't recall specific numbers, let's say $1.5 million, right? Obviously, it's more than that. But if he was to give everyone $2,000,
Mhm.
it would cost 100 billion, right? Like just an example. So there's not enough money from the tariffs
No, no, I don't.
to do
Yeah,
that for
I don't.
one.
I mean, obviously, you and I don't believe anything that he says, but like, what sucks is like there are people that actually believe this, and
Yeah.
that's so analogous to this whole Big Brother
But
government.
on top of that, that's not the first time he's promised to pay for things with tariffs. Then they showed him like at least five other clips promising to pay for something with tariffs,
Mhm.
like different things.
Yeah,
And you're
in which
like,
he hasn't.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
there's not enough money to do the first thing, let alone the second,
Okay,
third, fourth, and fifth.
so that's doublethink. And so
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
speaking of numbers, right? So Winston writes down in his journal, so he's back at home, I don't know, and he's reflecting more, right? He's reflecting on how, like, even though he's committing all these thought crimes, like, he still has intellectual freedom. He can still think 2 + 2 = 4. And so he writes that down.
Right.
He says, 2 + 2 = 4, and that is freedom, right? So believing that is freedom, right? And so that is very important later on at the end of the book. Um, he goes back to the store where he got the journal, and he meets a character named Mr. Charrington. And basically, he's just drawn to, like, the old world and, like, the old things. So that's why he keeps going back to this store. He thinks Mr. Charrington might be part of the Brotherhood, just like he thinks O'Brien might be part of the Brotherhood. Um, he says, one could not, on why he goes back to the store, he says, one could not learn history from architecture anymore than one could learn it from books. Statues, inscriptions, memorial stones, the names of streets, anything that might throw light upon the past had been systematically altered. So that's why he goes back to the store, because he wants to be connected to the past again. And to me, there was a comparison that was brought to my mind of the Confederate statues being resurrected, taken
Yes.
down, right? Which is another way you could argue, like, oh, we're altering the past by erasing General E. Lee,
Right.
but we're not changing history books, right? All we're doing is, but then they get resurrected. So I was like two different examples there,
Yeah.
but also changing the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, and the destruction of the East Wing so that he can build his big ballroom.
Right.
So I
There's
think
so many.
destruction of the East Wing, I think, is kind of a stronger example that we can talk about, because the ballroom, he's saying, isn't going to cost taxpayers any money because it's all donations from billionaires, right? My
Yeah.
question is, what are these billionaires getting?
Right.
Not just
And
eating the
on
ball.
that, they also voted, right? Because someone proposed to make an amendment to the bill to guarantee that taxpayers would not be paying for this ballroom. It got shut down.
Okay.
So, like, why? If it's coming from donations, which it is,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to pay for it somehow because the
Yeah,
donors
somehow.
are always going to line their pockets back.
Yeah, that's just another example of doublethink. There's so many, so many. Like, once you understand doublethink, and when you're like, oh, this, it's like, it's just
Yeah.
egregious. But so while he's at the store, Charrington brings him upstairs. He's like, oh, this is where I used to live. Did I tell you that part? Yeah. Um,
He's the
yeah,
shop owner, right?
yeah. And so he is leaving. He's going back to Victory Castle. And the dark-haired girl sees him, and he's like, "Oh my God, I have to kill her. She sees me, like, blah blah blah." And but really, that's not. So then the next day, she's in a sling, like she broke her arm or something at work, and she falls right in front of him on her broken arm, and she's like doing the helpless woman, like, I can't get up,
Right.
and so she's like, please, comrade, help me. And so he reaches out his hand to help her up. And in the process, she slips a note, because, they can't communicate, right?
Right.
So she slips a note, and he goes back to his desk and he opens it, and it says, I love you. And that is the beginning of their love affair. So I'm gonna just jump right into that. Like, they fall madly in love. Like, it's not a trick. It's not like politically motivated. Like, she's not like trying to trick him. Like, they fall madly deeply in love.
Okay. What happened to his wife?
I'm sorry, she died somehow. We don't know, actually. There's, if you Google it, go on, like, Reddit threads. Some people have different theories, but, like, I think maybe I think she told on him. I think she was like, I don't like my husband. He's not an Orthodox party member. I don't want to be married to him anymore. And then she disappeared, and he never knew what happened to her. So that's a theory, and you'll understand why they have that theory later on. But, like, they don't
Okay.
tell you. It's just like, used to have a wife, don't have a wife anymore, don't know where she is, don't really
No
care.
explanation.
I didn't like her anyway. So it's illegal for him to be with this dark-haired girl, Julia, because, one, he has a wife somewhere, and two, because they're not really
Still
allowed to.
technically married. It's not
Mhm.
like he had a divorce or anything.
Correct.
Okay.
But even if she was dead, if they're like, Catherine's dead, you're now divorced, he's not allowed to be with Julia, because they have to choose who you're with.
Oh, right. And he can't be with her for love or lust
Yeah, it's
because
just
that's
for
not allowed.
making babies. That's it. Yeah. So anyway, Julia is a hot young rebel who loves sex and good coffee and chocolate. I wrote that down. She likes to indulge in life's pleasures. She's
My
a
kind
rebel.
of girl.
Yeah, she's a rebel, but she doesn't really give a shit. She's like, I don't want to overthrow Big Brother, but like I do want to smoke good cigarettes and eat good coffee or eat good chocolate and drink good coffee because she's got connections within the inner party. And so she's like, she plays the part. Like she's really smart. Like she's like,
Okay.
she's part of the anti-sex league. Like I didn't mention this. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. There's this thing called 2 Minutes of Hate. And if you are a Big Brother or like a 1984 fan, you know what 2 Minutes of Hate is. It's like, oh yeah, like it's like the one thing that can get brought up in conversation. 2 Minutes of Hate is basically when the party members start their workday with literally 2 minutes of screaming hate hate slurs at the telescreen at their enemy, right? And it basically like gives them it's like the chance to be an outlet, an emotional outlet where you're just like screaming obscenities and you're just like it's like you're standing up, jumping up and down, you're like really angry, like you're like fuck you, like do
Yeah.
not
Like when
whatever.
you let a kid curse, have you seen that where you're like, I'm gonna, let you stand in front of the mirror and curse. And have
Mm,
you seen where they set up the phone just to catch them what they say? And they
yeah.
start like popping off and saying all kinds of crazy shit.
I do, I got to do that with all three of my kids
Yeah.
because I know the youngest one would be the worst offender. Oh my god, she is. Oh, she.
It's
I got to do
so
that.
funny because they come up with some creative shit too.
Like, where did you? I know where you learned it, but
I know, right?
but anyway, so
Something like that, right?
yes, it's just like that. Yeah. And but the enemy here is Goldstein. It's Goldstein, whatever. And he is basically the Brotherhood, right? He's the Antifa. Okay.
Okay.
And he's the one that's saying, like, oh, Big Brother isn't real, like you don't have freedom, like everything that Winston believes, and so he's the bad guy, Goldstein. So he's supposed to be the face of the Brotherhood, right? But he's really the good guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So anyway, in 2 Minutes of Hate, the dark haired girl, Julia, is seen like really going at it. And so that's why Winston's like, she's gonna turn me in. She's the most orthodox party member I've ever seen. I'm sure she hates sex. Like, she's like whatever, like picture perfect big brother party member, right? But it's all just an act.
Performative, right.
Yeah.
She
Yep.
knows how to play the system.
Yep. Um so she pretends to be this chastity chaser, but really she's not. But like she also doesn't care as much about like I said about what's right and what's wrong in
So
terms,
she's not a great person because she's just doing it for her own
you
interests.
have to remember she's younger too, so she doesn't really remember what it was like before.
Okay.
She's sort of like, this is my life, but like I like chocolate, I like coffee, I like sex, like I'm gonna do these things. Even, you can't really tell me not to.
Okay.
So it's weird. It's like a weird limbo situation because Winston remembers and Julia doesn't. So
Okay.
yeah. I already told you about porno sec. But yeah, so anyway, they to kind of fast forward here, they rent out Charrington's apartment. So because they were having sex in the woods. And they're like, we need a place to do this, right? And Winston's like, Charrington's apartment has a double bed. And she's like, I've never seen a double bed before. And so he goes and like rents it out. And he's like, Charrington doesn't care. He's a pro, whatever. Like he doesn't really care. And so they start meeting up in the apartment above the antique store. And she'll bring good coffee. She brings chocolate. They like really fall in love, and it's really sweet. And again, the sex is not graphic. They don't talk about sex in detail. They
It's
just talk
implied
about,
that's what they're doing.
yeah, they talk. Winston talks about how like she loves having sex with him. She loves being with him. She loves like
Okay.
it's like a passionate, loving that they're
Okay.
engaging in, which is illegal because you're not supposed to have love or lust for your comrades. It's only supposed to
Right.
be for Big Brother. Yeah. So then there's no telescreen there, so they feel safe. They feel like no one's watching them. Blah blah blah. And there's a rat in this apartment because it's decrepit, whatever. And Winston has a panic attack because he forgets how much he hates rats, and he sees a rat and then he just fucking flips out. So he has this huge panic attack, and Julia calms him down. And he's like, I forgot, like seeing that rat made me remember, like I have these like repressed memories of rats when I was a child. Like something happened, right? And in the movie, because I watched the movie too, the movie it's different from the book. So,
Okay. I didn't
but
even know this was a movie.
there are lots of movies. There's a '50s movie because it came out in '49, and then they made a movie in the '50s, which was pretty good.
Wow.
And that one I was like I read it. It wasn't as close to the book, but and then a movie came out in 1984.
The actual year.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
imagine. I bet it did really well in the box office. But so I watched that one, and it's like pretty close to the book, but there's a few slight differences, like the rats. But either way, he hates rats, and but that comes up later, which I think I'm almost. But anyway, he has a pretty good view of the proletarians from this apartment, and he's like observing this one woman. She's like a quite round lady. She's had like 10 kids, and she's older, and she's doing laundry and she's singing, right? And she just looks so happy. And so Winston basically comes to this realization that like the proles are alive, the proles are living, the proles have emotion, but
Right.
we are dead. And so he's like, I am dead. I am not. And Julia's like, you're alive. No, I love you. Julia doesn't really agree with him. She's like, what do you
Right.
mean? We're here. And he's like, no, we are dead. Like, look at this pearl. And she's like, yeah, her hips are so big. And it's like, no, that's not the point. It's like,
Right.
she's beautiful. Like, look at her. She's like, I don't see the beauty. But like, Winston sees the beauty in this like old woman. She's not that old. Like, she's just picture like,
Older.
like a woman in her 50s who's doing laundry for like her 10 kids and 5 grandkids. And so Winston like sees the value in that, and that they have freedom and he doesn't.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
that's weird. Like, how come they get to do whatever they want and we can't?
that's what I'm trying to figure that out. Like I was trying to read a bunch of message boards and figure it out. And I think it's basically just like you can control, and we're seeing it today. You can control a large group of people um with by just like spreading rumors and
Yeah.
bread and circuses and taking away education. Like
Yeah.
these people aren't educated, they don't have good schools, they don't get to read books, like they don't there's no like art or music, but like
Right.
they can still sing songs, and like it,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
It does. I'm a little confused as to like why what do you call them? Paroles?
Proles, like
Proles.
Proles, like short for proletarian,
Proles.
which is the
Okay.
working class.
Why they're left unchecked to do whatever they want.
I couldn't totally figure that out. I don't think that's the point, even though I'm with you. I want to find out more about it, but I think it's more just like, um, I think Oceania is just so big that it's harder to control large groups of people like that. So they're controlling smaller groups of people. Does that
Hmm.
make sense? And so then and so a prole can never become
Sorry.
a party member.
Okay.
So the party members are just sort of born
So those
into the
people
party.
are like just so lowly that they're not worried about them.
Yeah. It's cat.
And
Yeah, that's where.
they can never make it out of where they are
Yeah.
anyway, so there's no reason to worry about them.
Yep. And so that brings me
I
to
guess
the.
it's a message about us, the working class, the very few of us make it out of the
Mhm.
bottom.
Okay, so you remember Goldstein,
Yeah.
the Brotherhood? So Winston eventually gets his hands on this book written by Goldstein because O'Brien, come to find out, is like, "Hey, I'm with you. I'm in the Brotherhood." And so he goes to his house, same deal, slips him a piece of paper. He's like, "Here,
Yeah.
come to my house. This is my address." And so he goes, and O'Brien is inner party. Okay, so his apartment is very clean. It's very fancy. It's there's it's sorry, it's not fancy. It's like this. It's not like there's like gold, like it's not like Trump's ballroom or anything. It's just clean.
Right.
You know? So anyway, he gets the book, and he's like, this book is Goldstein's book, and in the book it's basically what you just said, which is, what did you just say again?
Like the lower half,
Yes,
they just can't make it out. So
that's
there's no need
exactly.
to worry about them.
So the book written by Goldstein is like, there's the lower class, the middle class, and the high class. So it's lower, middle, high, right? The
With
lows
like a
never,
cast.
yeah, the lows never make it out of the lows. Sometimes the
Right.
middle makes it high and they become in this position of power, but then they get knocked off. And then the middle becomes the middle. And then it's just a cycle of like middle replacing high. And then the lows are always the lows. The lows never get, they never come out. But Winston's reading this book and he doesn't get to read all of it, but he gets to this part and he's like, I know what Goldberg's going to say next. He's going to, not Goldberg, Goldstein.
Gold scene.
Yeah. Goldstein's going to say next, which is, if there's hope, it lies in the pearls, right? And so Winston's putting all of his eggs in one basket, so to speak. He's like, the proletarians are our only hope. Like he sees this woman singing every day and he's just like, they know how to live. They have freedom. If only they could just rise up and rebel, then we would be, we'd be better. But so anyway, let's see because we're getting really close to the end here. Um, so yep, I just did all that. Okay, so that was like the longest chapter of the book was when he's reading this book. So it's like a book within a
Okay.
book. It was a 60-page chapter. I was like, this is
Ah, I
yeah,
hate long
I
chapters.
know. I was like, this is ridiculous. How can you do this to me? But it was basically like it talked a lot about oligarchy, capitalism, caste. It talked about, like power and how it talked about like Hitler and Stalin and like how these like people came into power and how they kept power and like what their mistakes were and how they like what they should have done to stay in power and blah blah blah. It's just a lot. So I'm basically skipping all over it. So long story short, Julia's there. They just had sex, whatever. He's reading the book to Julia and he's thinking like how lucky he is to be able to be reading this book to her. And that he can just like be with his love and like be comfortable and blah blah blah, right? And then they fall asleep and then they wake up to these loud sounds, right? And remember the picture I told you at the beginning that was screwed to the wall of the old church? Did I tell you that? Oh, maybe
No.
I didn't tell you that. That's telling you.
Like what? Wait, I
I
missed
was
that
telling
part.
Blake that. So there's a picture in this apartment that Mr. Charrington was like, "Hey, do you like old pictures? Like, here's a picture of a church. It's screwed into the wall, but I could unscrew it for you if you want." And then Winston was like, "No, I don't want it, but thanks anyway."
The
That
whole time it was a TV thing.
it was a telescreen the whole time.
So the guy, the store shop owner,
Charrington.
was a snitch, basically. He knew.
Yep,
He was like setting him up.
yep, yep. And so Charrington arrests both of them. So they spend so now they're in the Ministry of Love. Okay. And I gotta tell you this one part because so there's a bunch of people and there's just a bunch of prisoners ranging from sex workers to
Right.
because sometimes they get arrested, but not a lot.
Right.
So proles are in there, politicians are in there. Like one of his friends is in there for having like saying something in his sleep and his kid ratted him out, like that kind of stuff. And then this starving man walks in and he's literally starving, like starving to death. And then the prisoner has a piece of bread in his pocket and he's not starving. So he gets up and he gives the piece of bread to the starving guy because he has humanity, right?
Right.
And who knows what he's in there for. But the starving man is like, I don't want your bread. I don't want it. Get it away. Get it away. Get it away. But it's too late. And whatever the police officers, they come in and they take the starving man away. And he's like, don't take me, take him. And he's also like, I have kids at home. The youngest one is 6. Take her and take her instead. Like, don't take me. And it's just like this really sad, like scene of humanity because it's like on the one end you have this guy who's like giving him his last crust of bread, and then you have this starving man who's ratting out his 6-year-old daughter.
Right.
And it's because like, what do you think happened to that starving man? Like he's been tortured. He's in the Ministry of Love. He's been in the Ministry of Love for months now. He's
Yeah.
emaciated,
So
right?
he's already being programmed.
Yes, yes. And so finally, um, O'Brien comes in, and Winston's like, "They got you too," and O'Brien's like, "I've always been here." And O'Brien takes the starving man to room 101. And room 101 is like this big mystery. They're like, what's in room 101? And the starving man freaks out because he doesn't want to go to room 101. He knows what's in room 101, right?
So
Um,
Brian was bad from the beginning. He was undercover too.
yep. And so this is where we find out. that O'Brien has been watching Winston for 7 years, which I think is roughly the same amount of time that Catherine has been gone, which is why I think Catherine ratted him out, and then O'Brien started watching him and has been reading his journal,
Yeah.
has been watching him with Julia, has been watching him at his desk, watching him commit all these face crimes and stuff. And he didn't do anything for 7 years because O'Brien is a sociopath and wants a challenge. And so what he sees Winston as this challenge, right? And so the rest of the book is essentially just O'Brien torturing the shit out of Winston with electric shock therapy and basically talking about like what doublethink is. And he's like you're clinging to your disease under the impression that it is a virtue, is what O'Brien says to Winston. And to me that reminds me of being woke.
Right.
So Winston is woke, and O'Brien is MAGA, and O'Brien is like, don't worry, we're gonna take care of you. We love you. Here at the Ministry of Love, we're going to cure you because we love you, right?
Right.
And the way to cure him is through torture, right? And this is where, when O'Brien is like, what's 2 + 2? And Winston's like, 4. And then he turns up the shock dial. He's like, it's not 4, it's 5. And Winston's like, but it's 4. I can see. And he's like, well, he's like holding up 4 fingers. And he's like, how many
Right.
fingers am I? And he's like, 4. And he's like, no, it's 5, 4, 5, 4. So it's
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get to the end here because we've been talking for a long time. Um, but yeah, essentially, it kind of, just more torture, more conversation about like doublethink and like how, you know, how you can believe that it's actually 5 instead of 4. And
Right.
at one point, O'Brien's like, do you actually want to see 5 fingers, or do you just want to say that you see 5 fingers? And at this point, Winston is just like so defeated that he's like, I want to see 5 fingers. And so they
Right.
like turn it all the way up to 3,000 or something, and like basically like make him brain dead, I guess. I don't know. And
Right.
so
Fry his brain.
yeah, so he ends up in this other cell where they're giving him like 3 meals a day. He starts to gain weight. He gets healthier. He's got like a nice bed and a pillow. They give him like a journal so he can start writing again. What do you think he writes in his journal?
4 + 4 = 5.
No, 2 + 2 = 5.
I mean, that's what I
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah. Jennifer, you would get shocked so much if you said that by O'Brien. Um, And then this part's interesting. O'Brien asks Winston why Big Brother does what it does. And I'm like, I want to know too. Like at this
Right.
point in the book, I'm like, what is going on? And Winston is unsure and he just doesn't want to get tortured again, right? So
You tell me.
he's like, is it for our own good? And O'Brien's like, wrong, torture. And like I would have thought that would have been the answer too. Like, oh,
Right.
because Big Brother loves us and Big Brother's protecting us. But that's not it. It's actually because um
Because they
the
can.
well, basically, the party seeks power for its own sake. We are not interested in the good of others. We are interested in solely power, right? And then
Oh,
he
so you
goes
give
on,
them the real answer, not like the bullshit answer.
yeah, yeah, I guess. I know. And so basically O'Brien is somehow he's a symbol for sociopathic politicians drunk on power and how the fragile human existence really and how fragile human existence really is. And also for how easy it is for collectivism to defeat individualism and therefore freedom. And so this idea of collectivism is basically all if we all think that 2 + 2 = 5, then Big Brother will always be in power. Does that make sense?
Right.
It's
Okay.
definitely not simple. Not trying to say this is simple. Okay, so we're gonna fast forward to room 101, right? When my husband was reading this, he's like, "What's in room 101?" It's like you're gonna have to just wait and see. But
Right.
so the third step to Winston's reintegration into society, because remember, O'Brien's like, "We love you and we want you to be reintegrated into society, so we're gonna do that for you." How nice of us, right? And so Winston starts to like O'Brien because he's so fucked up and so tortured. He's like, O'Brien is the best teacher. I love him, blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
Oh, so the Ministry of Love is starting to work because he's falling in love with.
it happens. And so this is where the part of the book where I start to realize, like, wow, this is happening to lots of people, lots of
Yes.
inner party members. Winston is not the only person who's experiencing this, but Winston is one of the most challenging people. And that's what O'Brien says. He's like, you're a challenge, and I want a challenge, right? So anyway, he he asks Winston, how do you feel about Big Brother? And Winston says, I hate Big Brother. And
Well,
he's supposed to love it. And so
right.
Brian's like, okay, room 101 for you. Like, you're ready. You're ready. So what do you think is in room 101?
A big TV.
No, it is basically your biggest fear. Okay.
Oh, so rats.
Yes. So this part's really graphic and really upset me. But it's basically like this device, like a helmet of rats. They put a helmet of rats on his face.
Actual rats?
Yes. And so they're like, and he knows what's gonna happen. So they're about to press the button that opens the door, and the rat's gonna like chew through his cheek and eat his
Right.
tongue. That's the most graphic part of the book. Like
And it
that.
actually does it?
No, you know why? Because he rats out Julia. Remember the starving man? I have a 6-year-old at home. Take her.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
This is what happens to Winston. He says, "Do it to Julia, not me. Do it to Julia." And so they press the button that releases the helmet from his head, and they're like, "Congratulations, you're cured."
Because he's willing to snitch on the people he loves.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, shit.
I know.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy? So then, it's not over there. The last very short part of the book, part three, because the book is in three part one, two, and three.
Okay.
He goes back to this cafe called the Chestnut Tree Cafe, and he's drinking gin and playing chess, and the telescreen is on in the background, and it's like, we beat East Asia or something like that. We've conquered East Asia. And Winston, like, he described, I don't have the page number, so I can't read it, but he basically describes like feeling really excited, like almost aroused. Right? And it's
Okay.
not a graphic description. Again, like this
No,
book,
no, yeah. He's
it's
just like
just like,
super into it.
yeah, like, oh, I'm so excited. Like he couldn't stop his feet from moving under the table. Like he's so excited. So it's like
Yeah.
it's successfully worked. He's now a fully
Well,
Orthodox member of Big Brother. And he even sees Julia just like in passing, and he follows her, and they actually stop and talk to each other. And they both admit to ratting each other out. No pun intended. Get it? Ratting. And she's like, she didn't say I ratted you up, but she's like, I gave you up or something. And he's like, I gave
right.
you up too. And they have a conversation about like how easy it is to give up the one you love just to not feel pain. It's like, yeah, I probably would do the same thing. I'm not above that.
Right, right.
We aren't, that's what humans are.
Right.
And so they
We're
were both,
sausage creatures.
yep, and they were both broken. And they as a result, they have no desire to see each other.
Right. They
It's
don't
like,
care.
we should do this again sometime. And then they don't.
Like, it was nice seeing you.
Yeah. And so he goes back to the Chestnut Tree Cafe. He's drinking his victory gin. He's playing his victory chess, whatever. He doesn't have the same job anymore because I don't think he can function at that job anymore because they fucked him up so much.
Right.
So he's got
So
like this
it's just
really,
like a little, everyone there is just a little off then.
yeah, yeah. Well, I guess it's like a cycle. It's like they find the ones that can do the hard, like the heavy mental load of work, and they do it for a time, and then they're like, well, this one's getting a little too, like let's bring him down a couple notches in the
Right.
Ministry of Love. And if it takes a lot of electric shock, as it did with Winston, then they have to have a dumber job, I guess. So, and I think the chess, he plays chess as like an outlet too. It's like he needs a way, like something to occupy his mind.
Okay.
But anyway, the last words of the book are, hold on, let me make sure I get it right. The last words of the book are, he loved Big Brother.
Okay.
Pretty
Wow.
disappointing, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I was hoping to hear a story where, he dismantled Big Brother.
That Okay, listen. I am such an optimist. I think I'm naive, I would say, more than an optimist. I was like, it's okay. O'Brien's in the Brotherhood. They're gonna topple it. It's gonna be,
Right.
it's gonna be a happy ending, blah blah blah. And I was like, whoa, this
What
is
the hell is this?
when O'Brien came
That
in,
would
and,
make me
and
want to
I'm
throw
slow.
the book, like, across the room. Like, what the fuck is this?
Well, I don't know. And that is kind of what I thought my reaction would be. But then as I'm reading it, I'm like, well, it can't have a happy ending. Like this, it's making a point. This book is
Right.
making a point. And if it had a happy ending, then it would not be realistic. So it's like,
Right.
if you as a society get to this point, then there's no turning back. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, and we're not here yet.
No, no. But
Again,
we're
that could
getting,
just be the optimism in me.
yeah. I don't know. It's kind of
And we're back. You didn't know that we were gone, but we briefly went to room 101.
right.
Just
There you
kidding.
go.
No, but really, because we're recording right now. So I guess like the dishwasher was running and it got to the drying cycle and then like the internet went out because the power is all connected to like on this circuit and we have to figure out like what appliances need to be on what circuit because things like
It's overpowering it.
I microwaved my coffee cup and then the power went out. So I don't know what the fuck is happening. But anyway, we were talking about how our society has not gotten to this yet, but we're at the end of the book anyway. I was work in between this, we were waiting for Jennifer to come back because she stepped out for a minute after I lost power. But
Yeah.
I'm writing a Substack post for this episode, right? And the title is how 1984 predicted Trump's, immunity essentially to being in the Epstein files because of doublethink, right?
Right.
No one
Right.
care. No one's gonna care that he's in there because he's
No.
still gonna be their glorious leader. But
Well, they don't care that he has 34 felonies. They'll always find a way to reason
exactly,
things away. I had this conversation with my neighbor,
the one
Halloween
who
night.
mows your lawn.
No, no. Oh no, he's so
Okay.
sweet. It's the other guy who is a nice guy too. And we had this long conversation because he is a Trump supporter. He's got like a no don't tread on me
Mm,
flag. And I
yeah. Oh,
literally
that's right.
we had a whole conversation about like abortion and Charlie Kirk and a bunch of other things. And at a certain point, I was like, yeah, if you think you can tell me what to do with my body, then you
Mm.
need to take down your don't tread on me flag.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's doublethink. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, because that's not gonna
Good for
fly.
you for having that conversation.
Yeah, it was very civil because we're neighbors. I have to see him every day. And he
Hmm.
is a nice person. And I told him that. I said, look, one on one, I like you. Do I like
Hmm.
how you vote and everything else that you stand for? No, as a group, I don't like you.
Right.
Um, and I said, and it's not about politics so much as it's morality. It's about how the laws that you pass affect me personally and people I know
Mm.
personally, not like,
Right.
oh, you know, I'm going to pay higher interest rates or some
Mm.
bullshit like that, which
And
is
I think
not
and I think we are, collectively is an interesting word there because I do think collectivism is dangerous, but at the same time, maybe it just has a different meaning. But collectively, as a group, we can have these conversations.
right.
But we're having these kinds of conversations with individuals, and we're talking about individual people who are impacted by these harmful policies.
Right, exactly.
So,
And that's kind of like what I try to explain to them. I'm like, you vote one way and it affects people's actual lives, as in, their
mhm,
rights. They can't get married,
yeah,
they can't get the health care they need. I said,
mhm,
we vote in a certain way that where your taxes might be higher.
mhm.
It's not the same thing. The
Right, but
impact is not going to be the same.
exactly, and your taxes being like insignificantly higher when you're already in a higher tax bracket is not going to impact you nearly in the same way,
Right.
which people don't get. And it's like I'm sitting here thinking like, well, that's a dumb thing to say, Courtney. It's so obvious, people know, but it's not obvious. People do
No,
not understand that.
no.
And
We
it's
had
not
a
because
whole,
they're not smart. It's because we've been conditioned to not think about it that way,
right.
and
Because
we're
we
penalized.
talked about abortion, right? And he was saying, like, well, I'm okay with abortion if it's like a rape situation, because I don't think, a woman should have to carry a rapist, baby.
Mhm.
And he's like, like, screw these rapists, they deserve like the death penalty, blah, blah. And I looked at him and I said, but you voted for a rapist.
Yikes! That's doublethink again. God, there's so much
Yeah. And like,
doublethink in our country, in our world. It's just like, oh man, it's very eye opening.
yeah.
But
And he was like, well, I don't know about that. Da, da, da. I'm like, but you've heard the things he said about his own daughter, right? And the way he would excuse the things, I was just like, oh, that's
double
weird. And I looked
think.
at him, I was like, that's a weird way to word that. Like, that's
Right.
really sus.
So if you are a champ and you got to the end of this episode, thank you so much. You should
Yes.
probably be a Patreon member. So go ahead and do that. But no, I'm just kidding. But if and you should just watch the movie. Like read the book too if you want. I'm not telling you not to read the book, but at the very least watch the movie because
Yeah.
the whole concept of doublethink to me is just so interesting and so relevant. And you don't have to read the book. Also, it wasn't hard to read this book. It was so interesting, you
Okay.
know.
I at first when we first started talking about it, I was like, I don't think I want to read it, but I kind of do now.
It's really good. But you know, it's also hard when you know the ending.
Yeah.
It was riveting to me because I didn't know the ending, you know. I was supposed to read it in high school, but then I think I just didn't. But anyway, remember when we couldn't remember the name of the woman that what's his name wasn't swearing in?
Yes, I just saw a
Okay.
video of her being sworn in.
By what's his name? Who cares about his name? Her name is Adelita Grijalva. How do you say that? Adelita Grijalva. That's
That's
why I
sure.
couldn't remember it.
It's a big name.
I'm on our Wikipedia page. I'm trying to see
And
like
her father was in the Senate or the House as
maybe.
well, because that's
Yeah.
what Mike Johnson was saying when he was, he was like,
Oh,
"Oh, you have experience because your
right.
father."
Mike Johnson, that's his name. And then he made some comment about how it took so long for her to get sworn in, and she gestures like
Right.
because
Yes.
of you.
It was like, uh-huh.
So I don't know if I'm saying her name right. But anyway, she is going to be the final vote in releasing the Epstein files. It hasn't happened yet, but something I saw a news headline today where like something was released. It wasn't the full files, but it was
Right.
like a file, so to speak. And of course, so that's why, you know, it's relevant to the theme of double speak. But even if all the files are released, like we want to know who else is in there. We already know Trump's in there, but it doesn't matter
Right.
because, like you said, he's a convicted rapist that we elected as president.
Right.
But you know, we want to see who else is in there. And then
Yeah. And
I
all of
saw
them should go down, you
Miss
know?
Frazzled. I'm on Substack, you know, and Miss Frazzled, her most recent post is, I don't care if it's Jesus H. Christ in the Epstein files. They
Right.
they all need to go to jail.
Yes, we don't give a fuck who it is. Send them all to jail. Like
Yeah.
we are not, I don't care who it is.
Yeah. Anyway, on that note, I think we should wrap it up here.
Yes.
Don't ban books.
Ban bigots and rapists.
The end.
This episode has been engineered and mixed by your hosts, Jennifer and Courtney.
You can listen to the Milf for Books podcast on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, or literally any podcast app you want.
Check out our MILF for Books YouTube page. That's MILF, the number 4, books. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Follow the show on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and Blue Sky at MILF for Books. Again, that's MILF, the number 4, books. But follow us on TikTok at Moms into Literary Freedom.